Okay. Okay, well, let's just start. So good morning, everyone. And I will repeat myself because I know there are folks logging in and, technology being what it is, at times it means that audio doesn't just connect that quickly. So again, good morning. My name is Judge Person. I do welcome everybody to court this morning. Just a lot of technical stuff this morning that made us start a little late. I do apologize for that. Also, I'm going to need to start identifying people here shortly. But I did want to let you know when you're given just a few things about how things move through a municipal court. When you're given a ticket or issued a citation, those are all methods that we have for accusing someone. That is what a ticket is. It's an accusation. And a plea is an answer or a response to that accusation. And there are three options for pleading: guilty, not guilty, no contest. And guilty means I did this. Not guilty means I'm contesting this. No contest means I'm not going to say I did or didn't do it. I just want to move forward with trial. So I'm going to work with everybody on that. Before I do that, I want to acknowledge we're working through two different dockets. And that means that there's a pretrial docket and then my general docket. The pretrial docket kind of pulls you out into a separate meeting space. We call it a virtual room, and you'll meet with Mr. Matson. Mr. Matson is the prosecutor. He's waving now, thank you. And he is an attorney. He doesn't represent you, though. He represents the state of Texas in the cases that come before the court, okay? So when you're meeting with him, just be aware he's not actually like your attorney. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that meeting because one of the first person logged in on that docket was Mr. Mason. And Mr. Mason, I'm going to go ahead and have you and Mr. Matson log on in. Move over to that meeting. That's going to turn into that you just kind of get sent over there. And let me just find you in my list. There we go. So Brandon Mason, Ryan Matson, we'll see y'all after that meeting. Just want to get them moving. And then I need to I did talk to you just now about guilty, not guilty, and no contest. I want to also tell you the direction that your plea will take you. So again, I'm Judge Person for those whose audio disconnected, and I'm describing the plea process. When you give a plea, you're giving your answer or response to the accusation that was on the citation. Is everybody with me so far? Okay. So if you plead guilty, you're saying I did this, and I'm going to move that case toward resolution, which means I'm going to move that towards a court order to complete your case. And I'll talk more about what that looks like in a moment. If you plead no contest, you're not contesting it, you're not admitting it, you're just, again, moving that case forward towards sentencing, just like the guilty plea. But it's not accepting responsibility. It's just not contesting it. It doesn't mean you're saying I did it. It means I'm not contesting it. Okay. The third option for pleading is to plead not guilty. And if you plead not guilty, that case is moving toward a trial process. And the reason for that is a trial is how that case gets proven against you. If you disagree with your ticket, the state has to come forward and prove that case. Okay. So it pushes the responsibilities in a little bit different direction. Okay. And so if you plead guilty or no contest, I'm moving you toward sentencing. If you plead not guilty, I'm moving you toward trial. Those are two separate processes. Okay. Now, before I move forward, and I do want to tell you, if you plead guilty or no contest, ultimately there's a fine and a court cost, and I'm trying to satisfy that judgment. Sometimes that's payment up front. Sometimes that's a payment plan. Sometimes that's community service if you're qualified for that option. I'm not trying to get jail time because in Class C courts, they're heavily favored away from jail time. unless there's no other option and the person won't do their duty and fulfill their court order. Okay. And there are also 4 ways to gain a dismissal, even where you've pleaded guilty or no contest. So I want to tell you a little bit about how those work. Okay. First, I'm going to tell you what they are. And some of us like a big picture. So I'm going to give the overview of the 4 things, and then I'll tell you how they work. Okay. Compliance dismissals, driver safety course options, deferred dispositions, and teen court are all methods that we have in the law for accusing someone. Okay. And I'm sorry, for dismissing charges. Okay. Things can be brought up to date and dismissed for compliance. The law has to specify that that can happen, and then you have to follow the details of that dismissal process. Okay. If you have a case like that, I'll be looking to do that with you. I'll be talking to you about it right up front. I'll assume you want that dismissal option if you've pleaded guilty or no contest, and it's something that can be handled that way. So that's a commitment that I will make on that. A quick example would be you're driving down the road, you put on your blinker, you make your turn, you get pulled over for not putting on your blinker. You know you put on your blinker, you and the officer figure out your blinker's broken, okay? So instead of citing you for failing to turn on your blinker, the officer cites you for a broken blinker, defective equipment. Defective equipment is something that can be fixed, brought to court on time, proof that you've fixed the problem, bring it to court on time, and pay a $10 fee instead of, a $200+ ticket. So if you have something like that, my assumption is that you're like me and you would want that dismissal. So I'm automatically going to move in that direction. You are welcome to ask me about it when it's your turn, and I'll let you unmute and we'll have a conversation. And you can bring it up. Hey, you can ask me about it. Okay. But I'm going to assume that you would ask me and that you might not ask, because we can't always think of the right words to say in the right moment. Okay. And many of us are like that. So I'll make that assumption and move in that direction if it looks to me like we could get there. Okay. The second option is a driver safety course option. That is where you do a driving course and you have to do the right course on time and get your driving record turned in on time, and you get your case dismissed. You also have to pay court costs. Now let's talk a little bit about money, or I'm going to talk to you a little bit about money. Every ticket has a court cost and a fine. And when you call a clerk and say, how much is this ticket? They're going to give you both numbers combined. Okay. They won't just break it down for you, because that's not what most people are asking. But if you break it down, there's a court cost, which is set by the Texas legislature. And there's a fine, which is set by the judge. Okay. That would be me. So in the driving safety course option, you only pay the court cost. The fine goes on hold. If you turn in your course and your record, your ticket is dismissed and your fine that was on hold gets waived, and you don't have a conviction on your record. Your record is something that also I assume people might be interested in, which is why I'm describing all these dismissal processes. So the driver safety course option, again, there's a lot of strict rules about that. You've got to be on time to court. You can't have missed your court date. You have to be prepared to pay the court costs in full. Those are not cheap. They range from $149 to $169. 144 to 169 is the range. And you have to be prepared to pay those on time. And then presenting a Texas license and Texas insurance on your vehicle now. And so there's some details to that, but I will walk you through that process pretty quickly and see if you want to do that. If you don't want to do that, well, I'm not going to make you. If it looks like you're qualified, though, I'm going to be talking to you about it. The third option for a dismissal is called a deferred disposition. Deferred means to delay. Disposition means to make final. We delay making your case final. I accept your plea. I put in a deferred order in place. It's a piece of paper with a list of things that you need to do to gain a dismissal. You have to sign it. I sign it too. And I commit that if you do the things listed, I'll sign a dismissal at the end. Those usually run from between 120 to 180 days. We have to sort out the fines and costs and how to make payment. We have to sort out whether there's a class due. We have to sort out if there's a certificate or some other proof that needs to be shown. Here's the trick with the deferred disposition. In a Class C court, you can ask the judge at the time that you enter your plea. So what that means is guilty or no contest, I'd like it deferred. Now you can also ask the prosecutor, but in a Class C court, you may also ask the judge. And other courts, higher level courts, you have to ask the prosecutor first. In this court, you may ask the prosecutor, who can bring it with you to the judge, or you can ask me directly if you plead guilty or no contest. Does that make sense? And so really the big trick there is, unlike the first two, instead of walking you through it, I'm going to just say, how are you pleading? Is this your plea? And you would say, guilty, or you would say no contest, but I'd like it deferred. If you've written it down on your form that you gave me already, I reviewed all that, I see it. If you didn't ask at the time, today we'd be finalizing the plea if it isn't already. That would be when you would ask. You need to ask before I accept your plea, okay? All right. And then I can say yes or no to that, but honestly, I'm pretty open to those, and I'll consider it each and every time I'm asked, okay? So that's another commitment that I make to you. And then the fourth way to gain a dismissal is through the Temple Teen Court. And with Teen Court, what you're doing there is looking a little like a deferred, but it works a little differently because you're enrolled in school, or the equivalent of getting a high school diploma, okay? So there, I will assume that you want Teen Court. You're a student, and I'll make that assumption. And if you don't want to do it, it's kind of like the deferred. We're not going to make you, or even the drivers, any of these options, we can't make you. It's a question of whether you want to do it, whether you're committed enough to get it done, because the benefits there are there of protecting your record and sometimes saving you money too. Both is nice, right? So not everybody cares about that though. And I make that assumption, but if that's not where you're going, you don't want to do the extra things, I get it, okay? So we don't have to. Listen, I do need to identify a few people that I couldn't figure out. I'm going to start with Amy's iPhone and ask you to unmute, please, and tell me your name. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Please.
Cecilia Abila. I can't hear.
Yeah, I'm going to change that on my screen.
Okay.
Cecilia Abila, I didn't know Amy's iPhone was. Put that on the screen so that I don't lose track.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll mute you, but you will have a turn short. And the next person I want to clarify is, some people changed it. Name on the screen is Arrow, gentleman, and it might be Aaron. I don't know. I have an Aaron C-Struck on my docket today. Mr. Arrow, is that you, or what is your name?
Yes, ma'am. Aaron C-Strunk.
Okay, very good. I just wanted to confirm that I got it right and not lose track of you. No, I won't. Let's see. Let me just log that in real quickly and make sure. Every now and then this system will change it, and that just drives me crazy. Anyway, and then, sorry, Mr. Matson, I'll be with you shortly, but I really do need to try to figure out some folks. I saw one that was named C. Bettel or Bentel, and I did have Tracy Bentley on my list. Is that you, ma'am, or do you have a different name?
Yes, ma'am. It's my husband's computer.
I got it, and I'm going to change this, but it's only for this meeting. It won't change it permanently. But I don't want to lose track of you, ma'am. So now I won't. I kind of thought that might be who you were, but I wasn't sure. I also saw Charles Smith, and you're not on screen, but I've asked you to unmute and try to get you on screen. Your video is engaged. What's your name, please? Charles Smith. What's your name? Is that your name? Because you're not on my docket. I have a Sandra Smith. Is that you? Okay, well, you unmuted. I'm going to remute you because we're not well. You remuted yourself. Okay. I don't know who you are. We'll try to figure it out, but I don't know that you need to be in this meeting. There was someone named Mom, and so yeah, Mom, tell me your name.
It would be for
Wendy for who?
Hunter.
Hunter Lowe.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, I'm trying to pull the right file, so I can't do that if I don't know who's here. And I do have y'all on my list for today, though. Okay, and there's a lot of people today too that I can. El Suavecito, could you tell me your name, please? Go ahead, and you have to unmute. There you go. Great.
Yes, my name is Robert Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Roberto, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, and let's see. I'll mute you, but now I know you're here. And Jay Johnson, can you unmute and tell me your name?
Gutierrez Johnson.
Okay, I do have you, Gutierrez. Right. Uh-oh, I do need that, unfortunately. Thank you. Renitha, can you tell me your name, please?
Christopher Wells.
Mr. Wills?
Christopher
Wait.
Wells.
Christopher Wells. Okay, thank you, Mr. Wells. Oops, it didn't work here. Great. Making headway. And then I had Moto G7. Could you tell me your name?
Leroy Connis.
Can you spell the last name?
Connis.
Thank you, Mr. Connis. Okay, Charles Smith, if you are unmuted again, but not communicating. Okay, Mr. Matson and Mr. Mason, I think y'all were discussing Joe Hodges's case. And so let me get that pulled up while y'all unmute.
That was the case, Your Honor.
Right. I'm just pulling it. Y'all can tell me what's going on with that case.
We are in the works of working on a deal. So I told Mr. Mason we would just go ahead and set for final pretrial. And if we can get everything submitted before then it would be taken care of. Okay.
So yeah, I think Mr. Mason, you know the drill, but that is set for May 18th at 2:00. We will send that notice to you. And if I have everything I need to close the case, then you won't be required to be in court. If it's still pending, the day before, well, I'll still be expecting to see you. Okay.
Your Honor, those are the ones that are in person?
Yes.
Very well. And
right.
Sounds fine to me.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mason.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
You may. Thank you.
Have a good morning.
You too, sir. And Mr. Matson, I'm going to move you forward with Mr. Stone, Blake Stone. There's actually Paul Rainia's case and Bernice Vessel's case. And I will let y'all go ahead and have that meeting.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Stone, I think it'll just move. And I'm going to move on then with Mr. Norman. If you could unmute, please.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I have a couple of things to address with you. One is I have a new charge that has been filed, and I'm just looking for it in the list of things. The notice just went out to you from the court yesterday. It's a different date, but otherwise it's all the same stuff, the same accusation, the same problem that is not getting addressed. April 13th is the date in question. It is a rubbish charge. The costs and fines are $581. To that charge, how are you pleading, Mr. Norman?
No contest.
I'm sorry,
No contest.
a little closer, a little to the microphone.
I'm sorry. No contest.
No contest. So, I mean, I'm going to add that to your balance, but here's the thing. Really been trying to get you to get some hours turned in. Some of these are older, some of these are more new, but I'm really not seeing any progress. So I don't really know about giving you an extension on your community service. Why am I not seeing any progress? You have, at this point, a balance that's enormous, repeated offenses that are not being addressed. And I just don't know, for me to continue, I need to see progress. There's a balance of almost $6,000. It's not being addressed. The offense is not being addressed because they keep filing it. I just don't feel like you're taking the court seriously, Mr. Norman.
I am. And it's
How?
just one of the things.
Show me how that has been demonstrated, though.
Well, I mean, it's different coming from a perspective, I guess, for people who don't have any issues. But for me,
Most people have issues, Mr. Norman.
same, a lot of people, they may have issues where they may deal with a few certain things, but when you're talking to a person who's almost lost their life, it's totally different. It's totally different. And so it's one of those things where it's like, it's issue icons. Like a lot of people in the city who work for the city knew that stuff was there.
Yeah, I don't have any control over what the city does. I know that they've been trying to get you to clean this up for 2 years, since 2020.
Almost 2 years, not a full 2
Now,
years.
I've been
but
trying
almost.
to get you to
but-
do your community service for 2 years, and I don't have your hours.
When I've gotten citations earlier, I've done hours. There were times where I've attended.
I'm talking about the cases that are still pending, not the ones that you.
As the hours kept piling on, and I saw at least 2 times where my hours got they weren't approved.
Yeah, because you
And
have to go to a
they kept coming
nonprofit
by. Code
organization.
enforcement kept coming by every month.
Yeah,
And,
okay, Mr. Norman,
Yes.
here's the thing, okay? I don't have any control over how they police your neighborhood, okay? I really
understand.
don't. But I have been trying to get community service hours from you since 2020. And I don't approve hours. I give you a written list of things I do and don't accept, and a list of places that are already acceptable. And you've left that list and done the things that I told you in writing I don't accept. So what happens there is that I don't accept them. That's a very predictable outcome.
I hear you on that, Your Honor, but I remember explicitly myself when having the court dates, saying I could choose a nonprofit of my choosing.
Yes, and it has to be a nonprofit under state law, which is in writing on the paperwork that I handed you.
And
yes, that's not what
the
you
two
gave me.
nonprofits that I chose, they are nonprofits by state.
No, they
So,
weren't.
I mean,
We were not able to verify that.
and
that
that's
is-
the thing.
That is
That's
something
not the
that,
court's discretion.
no, it's not
So-
discretion. No, it's not discretion, sir. No, it's not.
Your Honor, I have to
It's
say,
really not.
that is
No, you don't
because-
understand. You don't understand, and you're arguing in a courtroom. This is a courtroom.
I'm not trying to argue. I'm stating my case. I'm saying
Yeah,
from
but
my
it's not a
perspective, if I
case
was
to state.
arguing,
No,
then I
sir.
would say that's
So what you're doing, and I've muted you, is that you're talking over the judge in court, okay? And you lodge something, well, you've also left. You've lodged something at me. I mean, all I can do now is just move that case to warrant. So folks, if you're approved for community service, let's get really clear about that. A nonprofit organization under state law registers with the state of Texas. That's precisely not my discretion, okay? It's actually verifiable. They either are or they aren't. It's not a belief system that I have. It's a verifiable reality. And if I approve you for community service, I allow you to choose a nonprofit, but I tell you, if it's not a nonprofit, I can't approve it for the simple fact that the taxpayers of this community would have to pay taxes on it if it's not a nonprofit. And we're not set up to do that for you. We can't follow a 1099 for that. So if you go to do community service, if I grant you community service because you're eligible to do it, I have a list of places that are pre-approved that are easy. They have no affiliation with the court, although there are some cities on there, city services. They aren't the only ones. I don't have an opinion about where you go, just that you get it done. If you leave the list, there's a warning on the paperwork, and it says, if I can't verify these hours or they aren't done with a nonprofit, not a nonprofit, I can't accept them. Then people turn them in and get upset because I didn't accept them. And I can't. It's not discretionary. I'm legally not allowed to. So just be aware. And if you're in that boat and your hours have been turned down, that's why, because it's got to be a nonprofit. I did not write that law. I happen to agree with it, but whether I agree with it or not, it's not even relevant to the discussion. I have to follow the law. I'm bound to do that, especially with court orders. I actually can't pick and choose. So I will just work with what I'm given from that defendant, and we will move forward. Now, attorneys from the Koch office, Mr. Stone, and then not from Mr. Koch office, Mr. Matson. You tell us, gentlemen, attorneys, tell me, which one are we talking about first? Are we talking about vessels, or are we talking about Rania?
Your Honor, I believe Mr. Reyna is actually represented by a different attorney.
Let me double check on
I
that.
have Mr. Wilson.
Okay, well, I have the Takacs law firm.
I didn't see.
Hold on, let me check with the clerk. What's the problem? Yeah, we don't answer the phone. Okay, well, who does Mr. Takach's office have anyone else? And who has Rania? All right, cleric error, no problem. It happens.
Sorry, Judge.
Sorry to confuse y'all. And I'll put that one back in. I don't see that attorney. On vessels then, where are we?
I got an offer on this case, Your Honor, but I do talk with my client about it, the nature of the. So I'm requesting that so I can convey that offer.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stone, what we typically do is I just let you know the next setting is May 18th. Municipal courts don't really have a plea docket. We just have settings. And the next setting is a final pretrial docket for May 18th. If I have everything I need to close the case and move forward, then I will take it off the docket. If I don't, it'll be on the docket. The way to know that is to call the day before, check in with us. If it's still pending, I'll see you on May 18th in court at 2:00. If you've gotten all the paperwork, call and check. I should have signed it by then, and you don't have to be here, okay?
And Judge, just for a quick question, is that next May 18th setting also going to be virtual as well?
No, that's here in the courtroom.
That's in person? Okay, because we may, and here's my only dilemma is basically due to the nature of the offer is because of the speed on the case. But we may consider doing an open plea prior to that date. But I didn't know.
We would do it here and that date. we normally do it that date. If you change your client's plea
Okay,
and ask to be scheduled for Zoom,
okay,
you can, I don't have a control on that really. It's anyone pleading guilty or no contest is allowed to talk to the judge.
okay. So we request, I guess, a Zoom hearing to be heard on that. So,
Yeah.
or, okay. Okay, well, I sure appreciate it, Judge. Thank you.
Procedurally, that's how you would do it.
Okay, do so if necessary.
Okay,
All right, may I be excused, Your Honor?
you may. Thank you.
Yes.
So moving forward, Mr. Mattson, your next person is Fabian Lopez. I believe is still here. Yes, there she is. She has a multifaceted last name, but that's how she's listed on the screen. And you would have Lopez Paz Soldan. So moving Ms. Lopez, is that okay to call you Ms. Lopez? Okay, I'm going to just move you to that room and y'all will have a discussion. You'll come back in this meeting at the end, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you both. I did want to check. It's a little bit messy this morning because I had so many unidentified folks. If I call your name right now, let me know that you're here. Michael Fino, are you here? Because I did not see you. Lamart Boyce, again, I did not see you. I have a couple of people in the waiting room. Let me admit them. I was looking also for Attorney Bernoudi. And I was also looking for Attorney Wilson. And I was looking for Sandra Smith. And I was looking for Attorney Swain. So I don't see any of those folks. It's kind of shocking to me with the attorneys because they know what will happen. I was also looking for Jamal Baba and Odessa Hernandez and Justin Kenner. Okay, well, I'm just going to keep moving forward. The next person I was going to talk to is Erica Corona. Ms. Corona, if you could unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Ms. Corona. I did review the information you submitted. A couple of questions I had. So first, we have a no contest plea already on your case. I'm not looking to confirm a plea today, but I did grant community service and that was due, or I granted it August 3rd. And let me just look at it real quickly. The due date was in March. I think we've had a couple of changes on that. But we aren't on time on that. And then I think we had a show cause.
I had an extension, yes, ma'am.
Right. So I got your note about being sick and you had a lot of difficulty. But, you know, I have two options for the most part, payment or community service. Do you think your doctor would give you a note excusing you from community service?
I don't have epilepsy. It's my 3-year-old son and my husband. I am the only care provider for my twins that I homeschool and my 3-year-old and my husband. The only reason I couldn't do community service is because my husband cannot be left alone with my kids because of his seizures not being tamed.
Right. So I'm trying to find out if you can get a doctor's note that describes that situation for me.
I'm pretty sure I could. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to give you a 1-month extension on the hours, but in hopes that you'll get a note to me by May 19th. So right now it's still hours due, but I'm looking to see if I can get a medical reason to waive them.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, don't you kind of allowed the dates to come and go, and you know, like a due date of March 1st means that I need something by the due date. And
I understand whether it be hours
I'm just
or
trying to
pay.
get. Wait a minute. I'm just trying to let you know that you risk a warrant. So May 19th, I need that note before then, or you need to be in here explaining to me what happened. Okay? Okay. I don't really particularly want to go through the warrant process with you, Ms. Corona. It sounds like
Yes,
you've got a
ma'am.
lot of challenges. I get it. But you're going to have to do your due diligence as well. Okay? Make sense?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Okay. All right. I'm giving the extension though, and we'll send that out to you. Can we just email it to the email that we have on file?
Yes, ma'am, that's fine.
Okay. It'll just look like the due date will be different at the top of the paper. Okay.
Okay,
So you have it. Okay.
thank you so much.
Yeah. Take it. Show your husband's doctor. Or
Okay.
your doctor, whichever.
Okay. Yeah, he
Thank you.
has an appointment. It's just kind of difficult to get everything.
Well, I presume you're taking him to that appointment. So
Yes, ma'am, I'm the only one that's able to.
right. So just have that conversation and try to get me something to document what I'm doing. I can't just do it. I have to have something in my file.
Documentation. I understand. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Corona.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I had Mr. Stone come back in and let me ask you to unmute. What's up?
Yes, sure. Able to reach Bernice, and she's cool with me going ahead and doing the open plea here now if I can, just to try to get the case resolved.
Okay. I'll put you kind of in my queue. We can do that. Do you mind holding though?
No problem at all, Your Honor.
Okay. What was the original offer that you?
$50 fine plus court costs because she was 21 over, so he could not offer deferred due to the state's limitation.
Oh, he has a limit on his deferrals?
Yes, Your Honor, as I've become aware.
Okay. Let's see. Mr. Stone, I need financial information from your client.
I'm sorry?
I need a financial affidavit from your client.
A financial David?
Yes, I'm going to email it to you. You're going to be on mute for a little bit. Maybe you can call back to that client and get it filled out through, you can write it in and email it over for me so that I can take everything in total and come up with some kind of, and also on there, you could write that, she's authorized you to enter a plea. Okay. So we'll email that to you.
Okay.
And, you're going to be waiting anyway, so you might as well, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't know if is that like the payment plan application or something like that?
I use it a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to do with whether I grant deferred, but it does have to do with whether I grant, what the terms and conditions look like. So unless your client is prepared to pay in full today, I get that on every case.
Got you.
That way, it's not because I like some people, it's just every case. Okay.
And are they going to send that to our firm email or to my email directly? Either way is fine.
Whatever you say.
They can my email directly. That'd be great if possible. It's the same as our firm email. It's just B Stone at the beginning.
Okay. She heard me. She heard you.
Okay.
You'll be on mute for a little bit, but we'll get to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Matson, and you were talking with Ms. Lopez. Oops. Okay, so if Ms. Lopez, you can unmute as well and let me hear from y'all.
Yes, so I had 2 tickets, one for the driver's license and one for the stop sign.
Okay, and Mr. Matson, I'm sorry, where are we on this?
Ms. Lopez is gonna do a 1-for-1. I'll dismiss the fail to report change of address offense, and she will be taking the hit on the running a stop sign.
Okay. So, and Ms. Lopez, do you need more than 30 days to make payment on the stop sign charge?
Can you say that again, please?
Do you need more than 30 days to make payment on the stop sign charge?
No.
Okay. So, let's see, you're in Temple. You can come by the court to sign up for that 30-day payment arrangement this morning, okay?
Mhm.
And Mr. Matson will send over a dismissal on that other charge. And we should have that within the course of the morning. So when can we look for you today? This morning or this afternoon?
The afternoon, please.
Okay, we'll probably have that dismissal done by then too, so you could get a copy of it as well. We'll see you at the lobby, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. May I be dismissed?
Yes, ma'am. You can remove. Thank you. Mr. Matson, moving things forward, Roberto Hernandez is waiting, and he is the next person who logged in. Mr. Hernandez, I'm going to actually let you unmute, and I will move you over. You'll just show up in that other space with Mr.
Okay,
Matson.
thank you.
And when you're done, you'll click back over, or I might have to do that, but that'll come, you'll come back in here, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so moving forward. Minerva Lara, can you unmute?
Yes, Judge.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Thank you for asking. Let's see. Let me get your file pulled up. Okay, there is a driver's license charge,
Yes.
and I show that you are 16. Are you 16?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, I do need a parent with you on screen. So where's your parent?
He's right here.
Okay, and remind me his name. I know we've spoken before.
Eduardo Lara.
Eduardo, thank you. And so I got a request, let's see, for an extension basically of the teen court process. Let me just check in with the clerk quickly. This is
Okay.
on Ms. Laura's case. So on this case, you know, I have a teen court order attached, but they never signed it. What I have, there's no signature. I don't know. I thought they had originally signed it and then, okay, so they did sign it. And, okay, and they signed it on the 18th. And then, great. I'm just going to write a note that it's in the file. Did we do a show cause already? For what date? For today? Yep. Okay. And asked for this extension. And then my memory is it took a while to get set up to begin with. They wanted extensions there as well. This case was originally from December 4th.
Yes.
We did a court order January 18th. You were to do your driving education class and get that certificate, and then also to bring that learner's permit in a month after that. So I'm trying to figure out, you know, where's the breakdown, because At this point, we've run out of time for teen court, which is 60 days. We've done a show cause because it's not done. And I'm just trying to figure out what happened.
I thought today was the show cause.
The show cause was for April 6th. And you came in and asked for an extension at that time. And they scheduled you for this meeting. Mr. Wells, you're going to need to sit upright. So Miss Laura, okay. This is basically that show cause. And what I'm asking you, and I'll ask, another time, I'm trying to find out what happened that this is not done.
Can you repeat yourself?
Yes. Why didn't you get it done?
Well, because to get a learner's permit, it takes 6 to 8 months, which I didn't know. And then after
Have you done your class?
Yes.
Did you turn in your class certificate? I don't think I have it.
I haven't gotten the certificate yet until I take the written test.
No, your class, completing the class.
I have to get it printed out when I take the written test.
When are you scheduled to take the test?
On the 16th of May. Because that was the soonest opening that they had. And it's in Killeen at the DPS office. Because Temple didn't have me until June.
Okay, we need to switch what we're doing because it's not a good fit for teen court. But you can still gain a dismissal by doing a deferred disposition. Okay. And that's actually going to run we will have another 90 days to get through this process. And so that's July 19th. And what I want is the certificate from the class and the permit or just the paper that they give you. It's a permit. And that will be due, what did you say, May 16th? That's all going to be due May 19th.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I unfortunately have to get you to come in and sign this document this morning or this afternoon, which will work better, this morning or this afternoon?
This morning. I was actually going to ask if I could get a school excuse.
Yes, you can get one when you come in. Okay. So Dad needs to sign too, okay? And y'all come by to sign that and do that excuse. Okay. Okay. We'll see y'all this morning, that is, okay?
Okay.
All right. Any questions?
Not at the moment.
Okay, we're just shifting what we're doing to give a bigger window.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
The option basically stays the same.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, moving forward. Savannah Hodges. Can you unmute?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I did get your notes. I had a couple of questions.
Yes,
Have you had any prior charges like this one?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, were they in? We do not have one. Is that
They're over 100, so they're class B and higher.
Yeah.
okay? Just 1 second. Are those completed and done?
No, they're still pending.
Okay.
She has a court date in a couple weeks.
Just give me one moment. You still qualify for our first offender program. Okay. What that would look like is I need a signature today. And what you're basically agreeing to do is to get a theft intervention class of 8 hours. We'll give you a list of places that offer it. You get your class done, get it turned in on time by your next court date, which is actually going to be May 19th. If you get it done and get it turned in, the case just gets dismissed. You pay for you pay for the class, but you don't pay the $296.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you also cannot get any more citations during this time.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you have some things pending. I don't know how those are going to go. They aren't here in this court. And so you still are able to participate in this court's first offender program. Okay. Now, you'll have to come in and sign, and Mom will sign with you.
Today?
Yes.
Okay.
Are y'all coming this morning or this afternoon?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is it?
In the morning.
Okay. We'll have everything at the front desk.
Okay.
All right. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So moving forward, Cecilia Abila or Abila.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you say Abila or Abia?
Avila. Avila.
Abila. Okay. And you have a parent with you, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for dropping all your forms off this morning or yesterday. Did you have any questions about those forms?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Probably the most important one has to do with your rights under the law for what we call an expunction, which has to do with when you can have something removed from your record. With the tobacco charge, once you complete your sentence, you can have it removed from your record.
Yes, ma'am.
So I do want to tell you that the charge is possession of tobacco by a minor, and that is alleged for March 19th of 2022. And if you paid the balance, it's $181. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is that Mom with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mom, what is your name?
Amy?
Abia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you feel like she understands what's happening?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So with possession of tobacco by a minor, I can accept you into teen court, and everything is ready to go for that. I've got proof of your enrollment. I have all the papers that I need. So the next thing that I would ask is there's a $20 teen court fee. Can you pay that today? It's a cash payment.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then actually with all tobacco charges, I'm required by law to send you to a tobacco class. And this would be no different. I would send you to a tobacco class. If you get it done, you can do it online. If you get it done and turned in on time, which is going to be May 19th, then I can dismiss the charge and waive the remaining balance.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I'll have paperwork for, how to find a class. Okay. Are y'all coming in this morning or this afternoon?
This morning's fine.
Okay. And if y'all need excuses for work or anything.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you anymore.
If y'all need excuses, you can get them at that time.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do y'all have any further questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to let y'all go and we'll see you in the lobby shortly.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Let me look at it. It's waived because she's. Okay, so I'm moving forward. I sort of am anyway. Aaron Seastruck. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just pulling your file, and I did review your information. Thank you for all that you supplied for me. I had a quick couple of questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So your plea right now, I would consider conditional. It's a no contest plea, request
Yes,
for
ma'am.
I don't have a problem granting that. Here's my only question. I saw that you are studying to become a nurse. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the person who is making this accusation, it's a no contest plea. Did you have any questions or concerns about that accusation? I kind of couldn't tell. I mean, I definitely understood you hadn't been charged before. Here's my thing, Mr. Seastruck. Nurses can have trouble with having convictions. I have no problem granting that deferred, but there's still a record of that deferred, and that can still also be problematic. So before I accept your plea, grant that deferred disposition. You could have the case reviewed if you want to have it reviewed first by shifting your plea right now. It can be temporary, yeah, as a not guilty plea, and have the case reviewed by the city's prosecutor for whether it's a good charge to be moving forward with or not. So if you want that review done before we do sentencing, that's certainly an option, and we can take that step.
Yeah, so the best so that it can stay off my record.
Right. He might recommend a dismissal or he might not. You would be put on a, it's like a timetable of probably about, let me see, it would be almost a couple weeks out. You might be able to get a hold of like your record and get it to him and, discuss it with him, the situation. I don't know. And I kind of putting a break on knowing yet, because if you talk to him, I'm not supposed to know yet. And he can review whether that charge is something that he would be bringing to trial or not, and whether he has any recommendations, any kind of deferred, option with him first. You are also at that time able to change your plea to guilty or no contest and request it deferred from me. You're not waiving that or changing that, but we can put a break on that for a moment and let it get reviewed if you'd like to do that, and see if an outright dismissal is something that would be recommended or not.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's change that plea right now to no contest, is what I'm hearing from you.
Yes,
Currently,
ma'am.
just to not guilty, and shift you onto that prosecutor. Because, you also might decide, you might choose to talk with an attorney also and see if anyone can talk to you about the impact of the deferral on the current program that you're involved in. Because, so what I'll say is that I have nurses in the family, and I know the impact that this can create.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not in a position to give you legal advice, and honestly, this particular one, I've seen assaults by contact being very problematic. This is an assault by threat. I just don't know. And even if I knew, I'm not allowed to be your lawyer. But I'm definitely pausing because sometimes Class Cs can really change someone's future. And
yes,
this is one of the things that could do that. And I just want to be definitely, they all impact all of us. But for some of us, it's like 3 years on your driving record. For some people, it's you can't have that career. And thefts are like that. We have a theft intervention program that we do. And, I just don't know if the current prosecutor might take a position like that or not. But you can have that discussion first. So
Okay.
I will move that to, it's a future date for him, a pre-trial, and for you. And that gives you time to line up things that you might need to know, especially like you mentioned with the record. But and I don't know enough or anything about the offense, and I shouldn't. But May 5th will be an online Zoom meeting, and a final date of June 1st here in the courtroom if it's not resolved at that first layer. And I just need you to come by and make a signature this morning, or I can email it to you if you have the capacity to print it, sign it, and scan it back over.
Okay, yes, I can do that.
The scan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll email that over, and let's hit a pause. Once you get information from potential, legal advice, if you wish, and also get a copy of your record maybe, and anything else, statements or anything else that you would like the prosecutor to take note of, and we can go from there. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, yes, sir. So that's just me. I was not thinking about you in particular, but we'll email that over. Okay, Mr. Seastrunk.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. You're good to go
Thank
for
you.
now. Expect that email later.
Yes, ma'am. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Thank you. And Mr. Mattson, I know that you were talking with Mr. Hernandez, I believe. And
Yes, Your Honor. I believe
I
he needs
am
to be pulled back over.
definitely seeing that he needs to be pulled back. And thank you. We'll just give that a moment to work its magic. There he is. Mr. Hernandez, thank you. And I had someone else I was talking to, and that's why it took a few moments.
No, it's okay.
But let me get that file pulled. There we go. And so, Mr. Mattson, Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Mattson, where are we on this charge, these charges?
Your Honor, I wanted to give Mr. Hernandez the opportunity to speak with you about community service.
Yes. Okay. Have the police changed? Is that, we can talk about community service. I mean, it's an option. He did fill out a financial affidavit, and he looks close to being eligible. Mr. Hernandez, does anyone live in the home with you besides yourself?
Ma'am, I don't have a home. I stay 2 houses down with my parents, but I'm having issues there with them, so it's real hard for me right now. And again, I want to apologize to the gentleman. When I get this way, this is the way I get. I'm disabled. I'm under medication, and that's why a lot of times I just stay away from people because of, the way that I get.
Okay. So a couple of things. There are charges. You would be eligible for community service, which is the thing I've been asked to look at. And there is a concern now that I have about that, just in terms of places that you might go. And you're telling me that sometimes that's not great for you. And then that's potentially tying into some mental health or disability issues. So I want to be aware of those shortly. But
well,
what
I'm not mentally, at all, ma'am. I'm just disabled. I cannot work. I cannot move. I mean, I moved from 2 houses down and I barely make it over there, at my age, I shouldn't be like that, but unfortunately that's just what's happening,
Right. So just so that you don't misunderstand me, for me, they aren't the same thing, mental health and disability, but they do all come under the category of where I pay a certain type of attention to. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And so what I am asking you is if you could just briefly, you don't have to give me a lot of information, but just kind of let me know what is the nature of your disability.
I have a bad neck, a bad shoulder. My spinal cord is messed up. My back hurts all the time. I do not take painkillers or anything. I used to be a drug addict. I used to be an alcoholic. I quit 36 years ago, and I don't want to go back to what I used to be.
Gotcha. Okay. So the other thing I have to ask you is there's 4 charges from February 8th. And I'm not really in a position yet. I mean, I will tell you you're indigent and I can order community service. That said, it's not all physical labor, but that said, it is subject to any doctor's note that you might be able to provide me to make accommodations. So I can make an order up front. I can look at that order in light of information if it's brought to my attention, on or before your due date. But what I will say is I can't really sentence you yet because right now I don't have a plea that allows that. So when Mr. Mattson asked me to consider you for community, to let you know about community service, I can give you general information. I think I've done that. But the deal is on it, I can only do an order like that on a plea of guilty or no contest. Now you have 4 charges. They're all for February 8th. One has to do with not having a building permit. That has fines and costs of $476. One is for rubbish. That has fines and costs of $576. You have outside storage. That has fines and costs of $576. And then either illegal or unsafe sleeping rooms. That has fines and costs.
Okay, ma'am, you're cutting up on the last parts. I don't. Okay. Number one is the rubbish that the inspector thought it was, and everything was that it was stuff.
Yeah, I have to actually stop you there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You've contested the charge. So we're not going to flesh that out here and have a trial about that because your case is contested. And everyone in a contested charge has rights. They're slightly different. For example, you have the right to confront the people making that accusation. You have the right to have the case proven against you in a courtroom. The people who made the allegation also have a right to be heard. And they don't come to the pretrial because you have separate and frankly more rights than they do, but they do have rights. And so if I'm sentencing you, I can sentence you, but I'm not sentencing you right now. Your case is contested. And it seems to me like right now, that's still the case. You don't agree. You disagree with these fundamentally. And so we need to bring the case forward May 18th to a pretrial here in the room and maybe look at setting a bond and scheduling these cases for trial. So the address that we have on file is a PO box.
Yes, ma'am.
That's still the right address?
For mailing address, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we will mail that to you, but what it's going to tell you is you're here in the courtroom May 18th at 2:00, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll see you then, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be dismissed?
Yes, thank you for asking.
Thank you, ma'am. Y'all have a good day.
Yes, you too. So we'll mail it. Mr. Matson, let me move you forward to Jataris Johnson. I hope, Mr. Johnson, I didn't just butcher your name. Did I say it remotely correctly?
It's Jataris.
Jataris. I had it right the first time. Okay, so I'm going to send you over, and Mr. Matson will join you in the pretrial room, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Hernandez, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect. And I am moving forward. I think it's 10 by statute. Just one moment. Yeah, I like to get that to be the same because if they default, they still have to do it. Just give me one moment. Yes, thank you. None of those are for tobacco. Yeah, so we do 10. Okay. Just confirming. Like to make sure. I'm supposed to. So just moving forward, my next person is Tracy Bentley.
Good morning.
You're a passenger, right? You're a passenger, right? Miss Bentley, can you unmute? Are you driving a car or are you a passenger? You're muted, so you'll have to unmute. Yeah.
I'm a passenger.
Okay. So we have everything in the file, and I did get your note, and you're still requesting a driver safety course option. Let me just check one thing. How late are we? You got a pre-warning letter. Okay, that's usually 2 weeks. Oh yeah, it was more than a month. It was probably, what was her original? It used to spin, so you knew that it was full. Okay. And she came in. Okay. Okay. Ms. Bentley, you would have to pay the court costs. Hold on. You would have to pay the court costs, which are $144 today.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you come in to do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, we have your license and insurance. So if you come in to do that at the court, then they'll also do the rest of your paperwork with you. I am approving the request due to the circumstances.
Okay, thank you.
That said, you're going to have a 90-day window. They'll give you your final due date at the clerk's office. And that means you have to get your record and your course in on time, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll see you at the front desk shortly.
Can it be this afternoon? I'm actually in the car taking my sister to an appointment.
Yes, but it needs to be today, so no later than say 3 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Miss Bentley.
Thank you.
I'm gonna let the next person, Mr. Wells, unmute, but I'll be right with you. We didn't tell him any of that. What we told him is he has. I don't give them any of that advice. What's the question that you have for me? Because I've got 8 people waiting. No, he was handed that. We did not say anything. But that did not happen. Okay, moving forward, Mr. Matson, let's see. Let me get Mr. Johnson back over. Okay, so here we go. This is a no insurance charge. Where are we on this matter?
Your Honor, Mr. Johnson has actually submitted valid insurance to the court that was obtained within 24 hours of the citation, so I will be dismissing this ticket.
Okay, All right, Mr. Johnson, he's gonna send that over this morning.
Okay.
And then we will, when I sign it, we will email that to you, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. May I be dismissed?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let me make sure that I don't have anyone else for you, Mr. Matson. I have this person named Charles Smith who has failed to identify all morning. Mr. Smith, Charles Smith, can you identify yourself, please? I've also sent you a chat. I don't know what's happening. Your audio is connected. Here's my position on this. If I don't know who you are, I can't work with you. If you don't talk to me, I don't know who you are. If I can't see you, I can't compare you to anything. So my position is, if you're here and I can't identify you, then I'm not working with you. And so you can watch on YouTube, but you don't need to be in the courtroom. If you want to log back in and tell me who you are, you can do that, but I've asked you to repeatedly. I don't know who that is, so I don't know if it's someone you're supposed to work with. Give me a few moments on that. I also have phone call, a 214 beginning phone number, and I've just asked you to unmute. Can you give me your name? Yes.
Ma'am?
Yes, what's your name, please?
Your Honor?
Yes,
Oh, I'm so sorry, Your Honor. My name is Sandra Smith.
Sandra Smith. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you connected to Charles Smith?
That is my husband. This is his computer. I'm not technically savvy, so I apologize for. I mean, I kept trying, but I evidently am pushing the wrong thing.
Right.
So,
okay. Well, the phone call's fine. I'm going to let you. You're actually on the pretrial docket. So, Mr. Matson, I'm not sure if you can see the screen, but Mr. Matson.
it says. Oh, hang on. I have a magnifier, so I have to use. Hang on one second. Just really quick here.
Can you see the court activity? Because I've got you on a telephone.
Yeah, I was on there, and then when I went to go on the phone, for some reason it jumped off and says cannot connect. Try this one more time. I sincerely apologize. I just
Well, it's not really critical. Okay. So what I'll do is just go ahead and send you into. I'm basically going to move into a different meeting, and Mr. Matson is our prosecutor, and he'll meet with you while you're on the phone. It's not a problem. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
I'll send you over there.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. She went on over.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Wells. We were
Yes.
going to talk. And so are you okay today? How are you doing?
Okay.
Okay. So I didn't get to review everything on your case. Give me a moment. Can you help me? I just have a stack of community service orders here. I don't have a screen on here or anything. And then I've got my community service rules attached. So I don't quite know what's going on. Oh, then I have another set of things. Oh, I'm sorry, these are mine. Okay. So Mr. Wells, I did review most of your paperwork. I had a few questions. So first of all, actually, I got interrupted. Hold on 1 minute. So there's a possession of drug paraphernalia charge. It has fines and costs of $820.30. This is from October 3rd of 2020. And I don't have a plea on that charge. I do have a request for time served. It does look like it would be eligible, but I need a plea first. How are you pleading to that charge?
Guilty.
Okay. I can time serve that one. Okay, the next one is possession of tobacco by a minor. And that one already has a plea entered and a hold on your ability to get your license. It's an old balance of 170, and I can waive that 3 times served. Again, I can waive that and time serve it today, okay? Your other 2 charges, a no driver's license charge, February 15th of 2022, has a balance of 181, and you have entered a plea of guilty. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'll accept your plea. And the other charge, February 15th of 2022, is for speeding, and the fine and costs are $279, and I have a plea of guilty. Is that your plea at this time?
Yes.
Okay, I will accept that plea. Then you also, I can't time serve those because your jail time preceded the offense date. And I can't give you credit for going to jail after the offense because it was before the offense. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You also filled out a form saying that you have no income and you also have no bills. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how do you live with family? What's going on?
I'm really like homeless.
Living at home?
No, I say I'm really like homeless.
Well, where are you right now?
I'm at a friend's.
Okay. And on the house on 5th Street, is that, sorry, I have a couple of addresses. One that looks like 5th Street, one that looks like Hartrick Bluff Road. Where would you receive mail?
Right now at a PO box.
Okay, you have an ongoing duty. You're going to have an ongoing duty to keep your address current with the court. So I'm going to have some community service documents for you to sign today on those 2 cases that can't be time served. And when you come in to sign it, you can change your address with us. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, on your cases, I will grant that are still pending that can't be time served. I'll grant community service. And that turns into 23 hours. And I'm going to have that due June 21st. And I can give you a list of places where you can do the work. And I think you've heard me tell several people this morning that I do allow community service from any nonprofit. I'm still doing that in spite of, frankly, a lot of abuses lately. So what I want to caution you about is to read your paperwork very carefully, because I actually spell out what I do and don't allow. And if a company that you go work for is not really a nonprofit that I can verify under state statute, meaning they have filed the proper paperwork with the proper authorities and not just said they're a nonprofit, but actually become one, I can't accept it. I will not be able to.
Well, what if I get a job?
Then you will supply me on or before your due date with any hours that you've done working, because I give you pretty good rate of credit here. And whatever you haven't done, you can fill out a financial affidavit showing me your income and your pay schedule. And I can come up with credit for any work you've already done and an appropriate pay schedule, okay? If you get a job, you just come in, bring me what you've got and supplement your information to me and let me know what you're asking me to do. And I will either accommodate it or do my best to accommodate it or do what the law requires, whichever is appropriate. I go in that order.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, can I come in? Can I come in like before 4 o'clock?
Yes, please. We'll see you at the window, okay?
All right, that's at the Municipal at the where's this at?
Okay, you know where you came and filled out your paperwork before?
Yeah.
We're still here.
All right.
Do not move the building.
All right.
All right. Now, just really keep in touch, because if you just let it go, it goes to warrant. There's really no reason to do that.
No, I'm coming down there before 4 o'clock.
Yeah, but I mean, then you have due dates, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you then.
All right.
Okay, and so moving forward, Hunter Road.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you this morning, Mr. Lowe?
Pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. And is that your mom with you?
Yes,
ma'am.
And what is your name?
Erica Logue.
Hi, Ms. Lowe.
Hi.
And so, Hunter, I will tell you, there's a speeding charge.
Yes,
And the
ma'am.
fines and costs, if you paid it, are $254. I do have a teen court program, which you did request, and I would grant that. But first, I want to make sure that you understand the options of pleading guilty, not guilty, and no contest. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have entered a plea of guilty. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
There is a $20 teen court fee. Can that get paid today?
Yes, ma'am.
And then there'll be a class that it's basically a driving safety course, and it will be due quickly by May 19th. And if you turn that in on time, then you gain a dismissal of the charge and a waiver of the balance. Okay. How does that sound?
Sounds pretty good.
Yes.
You can take the course online. When you come to sign your teen court paperwork, you'll actually get information for how to find a class as well. Okay. Okay. So when are y'all coming in? This morning or this afternoon?
This morning.
And you can get notes for work, school, and all that. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll have that at the front desk for you shortly. Do you have any further questions right now?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. You're good to go.
All right.
you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Connors, good morning. So,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you. Thank you. I have a few questions, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
So one thing is that I have a request here for $100 a month payment plan, but I'm actually showing that in lieu of payment, I could order community service because right now I'm showing that your bills really do exceed your income much of the time now. I recognize that bills, when people write that out to me, they're kind of guessing and bills go up and down. I mean, almost no one has solid, strict bills that stay the same every month. But so you know that better than me. But you're on that margin where I can order community service. That said, I have an old case that did go to warrant for non-completion of a court order. It was a failing to control speed charge. It has a balance of $276.77. I have a no driver's license charge, which has fines and costs of $181. And you have entered a plea of guilty to that charge. Is that your plea today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and then that same date of stop, March 11th, 2022, a no insurance charge with fines and costs of $281. And to that charge, I have a written plea that I'm about to accept of guilty. Is that your plea at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And then unless you object to it, I would order a community service order to complete these fines and costs. And that would look like 37 hours of community service. that would be due right now by June 21st. As always with community service, if you turn in what you've got done at the time and ask for an extension on or before your due date, sometimes I give a little more time. On 37 hours, sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. So I'm just letting you know up front. I want to see how much you can get done in 60 days, and that will tell me how much more time I need to give you.
Okay.
So that would be my order. Do you feel like that is an order you could follow? Because you're kind of on the edge of, I could order an income payment. I wouldn't do $100 though. But I already have a KPS where that didn't work out particularly well. So I'm inclined to lean towards, let's try community service.
Okay. I understand. I just felt the payment plan would be a little bit easier. Granted, my bills are a little bit wonky at the moment. I just felt with income tax season, I would have been able to just pay it all off in full and move on. But if you feel community service is better, I would do that.
Well, it's appropriate. I don't know what's best for you, but I do know that legally it's an appropriate thing for me to do at this time.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make that order. And then there's paperwork that you need to come pick up. So I need to look for you to come in today because you'll sign one time and we'll give you a bunch of information about how to find a provider and the things that I do and don't allow. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. What, this morning or this afternoon?
Can we go for this afternoon?
Yes. No later than 4?
I'm sorry?
No later than 4?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll see you then.
All right,
And,
thank you.
I'll recall your warrant today as long as you come in and sign.
I'm sorry, say that.
I'll recall your warrant today as long as you come on in and sign.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
May I be excused?
You may. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Mr. Matson, I did admit Ms. Smith back in, and where are we with this charge?
Your Honor, I told Mrs. Smith that if she submits her placard and ID and a doctor's note by April 30th, that I will dismiss her ticket.
Okay. So you'll have to put a note to yourself to check on that because her final date is May 18th as far as coming in to set trial. But Ms. Smith, he wants that information from you well in advance of that date. His deadline is going to be 4/30/22. If you bring it to the court, we can scan it into your file. Okay. So that's all you would need to do. Do you understand? So I know you are having trouble with the technology. I'm going to assume that you've heard me. You're welcome to, oh, there you go. Can you talk? So you've unmuted, but I'm still not hearing you. And so you're welcome to make a phone call back in. I've got a couple of more people to see. I've got one I need to let in. So you're welcome to call in and I'll just explain to you what you need to do if you feel like you have more questions. But I'm going to let Mr. Matson go because the gentleman I have to let in from outside is not, it's Mr. Norman. And Mr. Matson's not needing to weigh in on that right now. So that's that rubbish charge with the community service gentleman. And I've just purposely delayed admitting him because he does have a tendency to yell through the meeting. And frankly, I don't think it's appropriate, but I don't also think that everybody came to court to hear that either. So I'm going to go ahead and let you dismiss yourself, Mr. Matson, if you're ready to go. Ms. Smith, I'm going to go ahead and let you go as well. Call in to the court, call into the meeting if you have further questions.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay. So, Mr. Koch, I'm sorry, Mr. Stone, I got Ms. Vessel's information and just let me look at it for a minute.
Sure.
So let me also pull that file. This is Did I already hand that off to you? I think I did. Yeah, I did. Thank you. So she has now entered a conditional plea of no contest requesting a deferral. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Okay. Let me look at her. I will grant the deferral, but now I've got to figure out the conditions. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's see something on this. There it is. So 21 over. And she is 30. Do you know if anyone is disabled in the home?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And also, do you know if there were children?
She does not have any dependents. From what I gathered on our phone call is that she lives with parents, pays them about $400 a month for rent and all other, everything else. She's got, I think, $55 phone bill.
Yeah, I've got all that.
That's about it.
Okay. So yeah, she's able to make payment. That's one thing I'm trying to figure out. And then do you know if she could pay half of her balance today? That would
Not, I was trying to see if I could give her 30 days to pay the full balance.
Yes, I can do that.
She indicated that shouldn't be a problem. So that's what I was hoping to do.
Yeah, that's fine. The other thing though is I'm going to require in 60 days a driving safety course.
I kind of figured. And is that how long is the deferral period, Your Honor?
Oh, the deferral would be 120 days, so August 23rd. Payment by May 19th.
Okay.
Course by June 21st.
Okay.
That can be an online class, but it's an 8-hour.
Okay.
And then final date is August 23rd. Now I can email that to you this morning.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You can sign on behalf of your client.
I will get it done.
Okay.
And I'm the total on that case, Your Honor. I apologize.
It's okay. 259.
259.
Yes. Okay. So any questions?
No, just appreciate it.
Okay. What did you think about watching online court?
Oh, I sit through a number of them every day, and it just amazes me when you have like that one guy who's talking over you 20 times in a row, and I'm like,
once back in the meeting, I've made him wait because
I hear, I'm like, when the judge said that you can't go to jail in municipal court. There's one little exception that's called contempt, and if you keep that up, you might end up there.
Well, the truth is you can go for failing to fulfill a court order. I can do that, but I have tried not to, and I try not to. I think the spirit of the law is that we really try to work with people, but that assumes that the person is working with the court. And that's an exception too, where I just say, what I get to do is finally say, there's just not a good faith effort being made.
Uh-huh.
And when I've been trying for 2 years and you've got every excuse why you never do a thing, But he's learned to just, with the warning system that we're required to give everybody, people play that system.
Yeah. Well, I don't
But,
like.
we don't change the law for a few people.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm just one. Like, what are you gonna do? I'm very outcome oriented.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to argue about it? What's your goal? Because at the end of the day, are you going to be a principal client or are you going to be a results client? So,
I used to have a practice, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, I tell them it matters more to you, winning or getting them on the stand and making them spend their day in court.
Or finishing it, or getting it done. So
But,
get it done. I once had a court setting, and I am not kidding. The couple wanted to fight over a ride-on lawnmower. And to make matters much more interesting, they had found it like at the, someone put it out on the curb and said, take it. And they fixed it, but they fixed it themselves,
Yeah.
And so nobody even had an entitlement to that item. And there was no monetary value associated with the item, but they wanted to argue. And I finally told them, how much you're going to pay me to go deal with this? It's going to cost you a lot of money, and you could buy one. And they said, we don't care. Both of them were like, I don't care, to their lawyer, to me and to their lawyer. And we finally agreed we would tell them, and we did. We'll write up a custody order every other weekend.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
And at that point, they saw how silly it was, because you start losing credibility with the judge if you're taking up valuable court time to argue over stuff like that. It's crazy. And a judge, a judge that's been there a long time, who has seen 5,000 of those or more, is just, they're finally just not very kind. And I get it. I really do. You try to be patient with people, but there's a point where people get, they jump the shark, You know that saying.
Oh yeah. I trust me every day. We
Jump the shark here.
I go all over, so I see all the different courts, every basically style of judging. I've seen a lot of great judges and a lot of terrible ones. I had one judge in a speeding trial. It was actually in Little Elm. We're in a speeding trial, and the officer hadn't calibrated his radar in 3 days. And I asked about it, and the judge literally looks at me. He goes, "Counsel, why are you asking about the radar? It's radar." And I was like, it's a speeding case. Last time I checked, it's not perfect,
Well, just because it's accepted science doesn't mean it's unquestionable science.
And I was just like, well, I can see where this is going. I'm not going to waste your time now, because I think you've already made your decision. Yeah. So, but
it's a court of non-record, and you could appeal.
No, it was a CDL, and it ended up, the guy was, he was going down a city street, booking it, in a Hellcat. And the judge was like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "Well, if we can knock it down to 14 over instead of 15 over, that'd be great." And he looks at the officer and he's like, "You okay with that? All right, get out of here." Yeah.
Interesting. To me, because it's not actually a sentencing option that I have. A prosecutor can make that motion.
Right. Right.
And I can't really do that now. Probably some judges do.
It's, to me, that is the one changing of the charge that I think is, at least has the color of law permissibility, in that it's arguably a lesser included offense of the original.
There's a debate at trial. I think there's at trial debate that you could make there.
So, it's not it doesn't work everywhere, but it works some places, and I'll take what I can get. So,
well, and are you in the Dallas area? Do I understand your law firm? So yeah, I'm sure y'all have I've actually had friends up there who got citations and I can't represent them, but they talked to me about what are my options? I'm a lawyer, but I never go to this kind of court. And I've sort of told them, like, here are the options that the law allows, and here are the gray areas. And, you know, they really get different results, you know, 2 miles later, you know.
It's I mean, it's amazing, you know, like if you're in Dallas County and you're a commercial driver, you're honestly in pretty good shape. One, cops in the municipal courts and in even the JPs in Dallas specifically, not Mesquite, not Garland, not any of those areas. You're screwed if you're in those areas. And that's what I mean by the 2 minutes later, you're screwed. But if you get in Dallas, I mean, I've said over the last year, I think I probably close to 50 to 60 cases for trial. All that were set, I had one go. You know, so
well, here I'd say we're probably in that former category, just, you know.
And I've seen, I mean, we had numerous jury trials set, and I'm talking dockets of 50 or more people all getting dismissed in one docket.
No, that doesn't happen here.
No, and it doesn't happen in 98% of other courts either. But Dallas and Fort Worth, I would say, and probably Houston, I would imagine. But the big courts where, and you know what it comes down to, I think, is that a lot of these people punish officers for not showing up to court.
Oh, they get punished here. But I would say probably the overreaching issue in those courts is they just do not have the staffing. I mean,
yeah,
they would like to have the staffing. Like, I think Houston, I don't know Dallas at all. I know Houston, and Houston, they have the staff to do it. They will try your case. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Here, I mean,
if you want a plea bargain, you can plea bargain there easily. But
yeah,
they're not just going to dismiss it because it's scheduled. In Austin, I practiced in Austin quite a bit, and even in traffic court when I had to practice. And yeah, you're going to trial.
Yeah, Dallas is just kind of a weird area I've found. And it's not everywhere in Dallas, but the municipal court in Dallas, they have 11 courts in that building. So there's 11 or 12 municipal court judges. And so you end up, they'll have trials all on one day. And then last time I showed up, it was for a jury trial. They only had 13 people show up for jury duty. So they end up dismissing the entire docket. Like, they don't even reschedule it. They'll just dismiss it.
Wow.
You know?
We have a group 60 to 80 people for 6 slots. So
yeah.
And it's, you know, we like trials. They're interesting. Juries make interesting decisions.
I try about 2 or 3 a week. So I like them. They're fun. Not always winners, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, you can't win every case.
Well, I sure appreciate the time, Judge.
Yes, sir.
And thank you very much for letting us get this done. And if you need anything else, I will be on the lookout for those papers to sign off on, and we'll get those back to you ASAP.
Okay, that should be pretty shortly. Mr. Stone, you know, I honestly have to tell you, over the years, I have not had good success with the Jacot's firm, and you have been an exception to that. And I appreciate it very much.
Well, I appreciate it. I do my best. We're shorthanded. I just had a baby, so I got a 2-week-old boy at home. So he's so I didn't get any time off. Todd's in knee surgery today, so I'm doing my best to cover the load.
Well,
so
congratulations on that. Good luck to you, sir.
Well, thank you, Judge. Okay.
You're free to go. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So just a real quick question for Mr. Conness, real quickly. Oh, he's connecting. Because I suspect that's quick. Mr. Conness? Mr. Conness? So you've got to unmute, but I suspect you have a quick question because I thought we were resolved, but what's up?
I do. I didn't think about it until after we got off the phone with each other, but when I go to sign out the paperwork, am I going to be going to the municipal court or am I going to the jailhouse?
No, the municipal court.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just
no.
wanted to mention.
The municipal court is a safe harbor court. So if you come in, you're not getting arrested unless you're operating in bad faith. Otherwise, you come in, you sign your paperwork, we give you everything you need to successfully complete your community service, and you go get it done, okay?
Okay, I just want to make sure I was going to the right place.
Absolutely. No problem.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Norman, we're about done for the day. Did you have further questions?
Yes, I got disconnected while we were on the call earlier. And so I was able to charge my phone and I was in queue waiting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not seeing any success on community service. I'll give you 30 days to get
Okay.
substantial amount of hours turned in.
Yes, ma'am.
Since I'm adding the new, order. But let me get that total number to you and tell you your due date.
All right. Because what I'm going to do with the community service, I'm going to be on-call assistant / security. And so I'm looking to get at least 20 hours per day because I'll say overnight security and I'll be on call.
Where are you saying you're going to do the community service?
It'll be Magnolia First Baptist Church.
Okay.
And it's located in Belton, Texas.
$291 hours, due May 19th of 2022.
All right. And what I'll do, Your Honor, is every week, what's today? Tuesday. So Tuesday from now, even though I know the due date's a little bit further, I'm just gonna turn in hours every week. So that way we see the progress and because I don't want it to look like I'm not doing anything because people have dumped tires. I have disposed of tires that have been dumped there. This has been just a long process. So, but every week I'll turn in hours. That way we see the progress and just get all the hours knocked out.
Okay, just make sure that they have filed their nonprofit status. Make sure that the person signing off on the community service is authorized to do so by the entity. Otherwise, again, I put all this in writing. It's not mysterious. And I accept thousands, tens upon thousands of hours a year. But I do reject the ones that don't meet the written requirements that I gave you. It is not arbitrary. If I check with the state and they have not filed their nonprofit paperwork, it won't count. So that's my way of suggesting to you that if you leave my list, you need to make sure.
Right on. I'm pretty sure the churches, because they've been in business. I'm not business, but they've been out there for 100 years.
But here's the thing, that it's not their court order, it's yours. So if it's not, if it's not right, then I don't count it. It's nothing to do with you.
Right on.
I recently had a church refuse to call me back, and I had to not count those hours. And I could not find them listed as a nonprofit, but I also couldn't verify the person's hours. So, like I said, if the order doesn't get done, they do not get a warrant, but you could. So you check, not them.
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right.
We are adjourned.